What's up, everybody, and welcome to an early look that we are going to be taking at one of the more interesting types of games of the genre that I have seen in all my years of mobile gaming. Today, we are taking a look at Grand Cross Age of Titans, which is going to be available on PC and Android. And it's actually something you can go ahead and check out from that link at the very top of the description right now during the open beta test that is going on. And this is definitely something you're going to want to do because I am planning on starting a Grand Alliance. And when that time does come, I would love to have y'all join me. So yeah, hopefully y'all are prepared for that. And before we go any deeper, I want to say a huge thank you to Grand Cross Age of Titans for sponsoring the video and supporting the channel. But without further ado, what is Grand Cross Age of Titans? It's going to be a 4X game where you can enjoy the deep fun of strategic simulation through large-scale battles between worlds and servers. As I mentioned, it's going to be available on mobile and PC. And honestly, the first thing that I saw when I was checking out this game, man, it is one of the most beautiful types of games of a genre that I have seen via some of the 2D style character illustrations that you are seeing. Because to me, I feel like this genre is usually a little bit like rough around the edges with the graphics, but man, I cannot get over how sleek Grand Cross Age of Titans is looking. You're going to be able to take part in long-range combat, allowing players to attack across rivers. You can even get air units capable of traversing tall mountain ranges, place alliance buildings all throughout the world, and fortify defenses, and even build various types of buildings. And it is planning on hitting global launch in August of 2023. Obviously, the stylized artwork and characters are going to be sticking out. It's going to be one of the first things that you notice about the game, but don't let that take away from how strategy-oriented that is going to be for those of y'all who do enjoy strategy games, and you are going to definitely be able to easily follow along. So this is all going to be taking place in Skyna, another dimension of the world which is on the verge of destruction by the power of chaos. The two main characters, Mio and Eugene, are summoned from the real world to Skyna for the desperate origin of Destina, the princess of the kingdom of Skyna. It's a story of two ordinary students rebuilding a kingdom on the verge of extinction and working to go back into Earth. Users are going to be able to enjoy the vast story of the male/female main characters in the in-game with hundreds of cuts and full voices. Overall, you're gonna notice the strong character and story, especially when compared to traditional strategy games, and thus you're gonna be able to enjoy the entire story with a high level of immersion. But once it comes down to actual gameplay, it is gonna be centered around expanding your territory and combat power by progressing through the story. As you progress through the game, chaos is driven away from the territory that was seized by them. As the player's presence gradually expands, players can obtain heroes, items, decorative buildings, and more. You can create your own alliances. You can join them, something that I am very excited to be doing with the alls of you, so definitely stay tuned for that, because there's gonna be a lot of cool things you can do with your alliances, such as create world objects in the server with your alliance, and even if you want to go even more grand than that, you can join server versus server wars to fight for glory. So about some of those heroes, there are going to be different heroes with different personalities and characteristics in the game. Each has a unique specialized active and passive skills. Various units and strategies can be made depending on the combination of heroes. Grand Cross Age of Titans has various types of troops, from things like a common archer, infantry, and cavalry, all the way to special forces that can attack the opponent regardless of the types of terrains that the battles are taking place on. The ranged battle systems can create strategies to use attacks and terrain without being disturbed by terrain. For example, the bomber, an aerial unit, can attack over walls and mountains, which other units might not be able to accomplish as easily. So a lot of potential strategy on that side of things, and all these different combinations of different types of units are going to enable for a dynamic gameplay loop to happen, and all sorts of new strategies to constantly be formulated. Now, Titans are the final special force of Grand Cross Age of Titan, and it's going to be divided into the privately owned Titan and Titan owned by the Ally. Each Titan has its own medical skills and characteristics, such as solid defense for infantry attributes and long-range attacks for archery, for example. Titan's existence alone has a sense of weight and scale. Depending on how the user uses a Titan, they can even change the entire course of any given battle at any time. And users are going to be able to enjoy a absolutely grandiose battle experience with Titans leading the charge, along with all sorts of other troops kind of acting as support for the big dogs of the battle. And there's gonna be a little bit of everything here for everyone, because I know that some people love PvP games, some people love PvE games, some people love both. Well, luckily, all of the above is going to be present. I'm actually gonna be expanding on some of this in gameplay in some later videos, videos, but for now, there are going to be various single-player stages that you can do, which feature PvE battles that test individual strategy and combat power, or PvP battles for competition between the users. So the PvE is going to be a single player mode, and PvP is mainly going to be conducted in the world, arena, and castle wars. The single player stages gradually increase in level and difficulty as you continue to clear through them, incentivizing you to devise various strategies in response to the map and the enemy forces. And then in the world outside of your territory, there are various objects to interact with and resources to collect. You can engage in battle against monsters and fortresses for various rewards of various degrees, or even work together with your alliance members to capture and expand your territory. And then, the big kahuna, we come to the Castle War, the main PvP content where multiple phases exist, like a raid in an RPG game or a double targeted battle using terrain and gates. Castle Wars are absolutely one of the core and most dynamic components of Grand Cross Age of Titans, and I mean pretty much the end game goal of the game. The mode determines the greatest players of the kingdom and essentially ends up making them the ruler of the kingdom. So as I mentioned, it's a bit of a dual layered battle using terrain and gates. There are going to be land units, air units, and powerful monsters all acting as variables to add tension to the battlefield. The leader of the alliance within a castle war will then finally capture the royal castle, and once that occurs, they become the ruler of the kingdom, and the entire alliance that just did such a grand feat essentially gets to enjoy occupying the royal castle and reaping all sorts of various benefits. So I think it goes without saying there's going to be a ton to do within this, and not just going to be, there already is, because again, early access is now open via the open beta test. So y'all can go down the link at the very tippity top of the description and start engaging in the battles of Grand Cross Age of Titans. And huge shouts out to you if y'all do that. It does help support the channel a ton, and huge thank you to Grand Cross Age of Titans as well for supporting the channel and sponsor the video. Seriously, does mean a lot. And overall, I hope y'all are just as excited as I am to engage in some of these various wars and single player stages and whatnot, because we are going to be busy bees, and hopefully y'all will be joining my metaphorical beehive when that time does come, and we will be able to wage all sorts of wars and get into all sorts of battles and shenanigans and nonsense within Grand Cross Age of Titans together as a snipe squad, or I guess like a snipe kingdom. That would be more in theme with the theme and stuff like that. But speaking of themes, I mean, I seriously cannot get over just how freaking good the game looks, man, because I have played my fair share of 4X strategy games, and it just seems to me like the graphics always leave something lacking. But due to like the stylized nature like of the game, they are able to make the game look sleek, look nice, and you're gonna be able to play this on mobile in addition to PC. And I just love that type of stuff, man, because I mean, at the end of the day, if you're gonna be playing the game, you gotta be looking at the game for the most part, and you're gonna be taking in all of those graphics and all these visual cues, and it is just such a relief that we get to look at something that looks this sleek and looks this good and isn't an eyesore. And then in addition to those sleek stylized graphics, man, I am excited to get our hands on some of these castle wars, and I mean that's gonna be end game stuff, right? But even just being able to do some of the single player type of PvE stuff leading up to that, get into some PvP on smaller scales before ultimately getting to do that, I'm really excited to just formulate a huge army, hopefully an army of many of us within an alliance, and just see the types of battles and wars that we get to get ourselves into. It seems like it's gonna be an absolute blast. I hope that y'all are excited. I know that I am. But with that said, with that done, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's go ahead and start bringing an end to this little preview and first impressions of Grand Cross Age of Titans. We shall return, and when we do, we will be playing a little bit of the game. So keep an eye out for that, but let's start wrapping up here right now. Thank you guys all a ton for watching, and I'll talk to you in the next one. See ya.